Welcome back to my channel, Pocket Change Coins. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. This is not just any coin, it's the 1944 wheat penny. Now, don't let its size or age fool you. This little 1-cent piece, if it checks the right boxes, could be one of the most valuable coins ever found in circulation. That's right. We're talking about a humble penny with the potential to shock even the most experienced collectors. So make sure you stay with me to the very end, because the value of this coin might just blow your mind. Let's start with a little background. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958 and is one of the most collected coins in US history. It gets its nickname from the design on the reverse, which features two stalks of wheat framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, introduced to commemorate his 100th birthday. Now, the year 1944 is particularly interesting for coin collectors. Why? Because it was right in the middle of World War II. In fact, just the year before, in 1943, the U.S. Mint made a drastic change to the Lincoln cent due to copper shortages during the war. The mint produced pennies using steel coated in zinc. These 1943 steel pennies are pretty well known today, and they have a silvery look instead of the usual copper tone, but in 1944, the mint went back to using copper, specifically, recycled ammunition shell casings left over from the war. These 1944 pennies were minted in huge numbers, including at the Denver Mint, marked by a small D just under the date. Now here's where things get really fascinating. Even though most 1944 D pennies are pretty common and only worth a few cents in worn condition, a small number of them were struck in error, and those errors are what make this coin so incredibly valuable. Imagine this. While the mint had returned to copper in 1944, a few leftover steel blanks from the 1943 production accidentally got mixed in. That means a tiny number of 1944 D pennies were actually struck on steel planchets, not copper. These are now known as 1944 D steel wheat pennies, and they are among the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever made. To the untrained eye, they might look like a regular 1943 steel penny, but here's the catch: they bear the 1944 D date and were never supposed to exist. The U.S. Mint didn't produce any steel pennies in 1944, so every one of these coins is an error, and every error tells a story. What's even more unbelievable is how these rare coins continue to surface, sometimes found in old collections, hidden in jars, or passed down through generations without anyone realizing their worth. But how can you tell if your 1944 D wheat penny might be one of the legendary few? First, check the weight. A genuine 1944 D steel penny should weigh about 2.7 grams, much less than the standard 3.11 grams of the copper version. It will also be attracted to a magnet, something a copper penny never will be. Next, look at the color and finish. A steel penny will have a silvery gray appearance. If the coin looks like steel, sticks to a magnet, and reads 1944 D, you may have just found something spectacular. Condition also plays a huge role in the value. A worn example might still be worth tens of thousands, but a coin in uncirculated or mint state condition, with no scratches, strong details, and bright luster, is the holy grail. These coins don't just turn heads, they turn into headlines. There's another layer of value added when these rare pennies are professionally graded by top-tier services like PCGS or NGC. Once graded and confirmed to be authentic, that 1944 D steel penny instantly becomes one of the most valuable small coins in the world. Now, most collectors go their entire lives without ever seeing one of these in person. They're that rare. But a lucky few, very lucky, have discovered these coins sitting in old change drawers, coin albums, or inherited collections. The idea that such a rare and valuable item can still be found in everyday places is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. So now, the moment you've been waiting for. There was one remarkable case where a genuine 1944 D steel wheat penny, authenticated, in stunning mint state condition, with all the right features and preserved as though it were struck yesterday, stunned the numismatic community. That single coin was sold in a private auction to an elite collector who recognized its rarity and historic value. And the final sale price, an eye-watering, jaw-dropping total of $600,000, yes, you heard that correctly. One tiny penny. 1 cent, half the size of a thumb. And yet, worth $600,000. It's stories like this that prove treasure isn't always buried underground or locked in vaults. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight, in a penny jar, an old wallet, or a family keepsake box. So the next time you see a wheat penny, especially one from 1944 with a little D under the date, take a second look. Check the color. Test it with a magnet. Weigh it, if you can. Because you just might be holding a $500,000 piece of history in your hand. Second rare coin, it's the humble, copper-colored 1-cent coin from the year 1951. Yes, we're talking about the 1951 wheat penny. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. A penny? From the 1950s? What could possibly make that worth more than a few cents? Well, you're about to find out that this little coin carries more than just a portrait of Abraham Lincoln. It holds history, rarity, and for a few lucky collectors, a serious fortune. Let's travel back in time for a moment. The year is 1951. The world is recovering from World War II, the Cold War is beginning to take shape, and American culture is starting to boom. Television is on the rise, cars are becoming a symbol of freedom, and across the country, coins like the 1951 wheat penny are being handed out in diners, gas stations, and grocery stores. On the surface, the 1951 penny is a simple copper coin. On one side, we see President Lincoln in profile, a familiar and comforting image for many Americans. On the reverse, we have two stylized wheat stalks surrounding the words, 1 cent and United States of America. This classic design, created by Victor D. Brenner, had been in use since 1909 and remains one of the most iconic in U.S. coinage history. More than 284 million wheat pennies were struck in Philadelphia in 1951, and additional millions were minted in Denver and San Francisco. So yes, it's true, this coin was not rare in the traditional sense. It was everywhere. But here's where things start to get very, very interesting. Among those hundreds of millions of coins, a few stand out. Why? Because not all 1951 wheat pennies were created equal. Throughout the minting process, errors can occur. These errors are extremely rare, but they're also extremely valuable when discovered. In the case of the 1951 wheat penny, collectors have uncovered a select few with incredible flaws, struck on the wrong metal planchets, double die errors, off-center strikes, and even coins missing key features like mint marks or design elements. One of the most prized errors involves the penny being struck on a foreign planchet, a blank intended for another country's coin. These planchets are often made of different metals and are slightly different in size and weight. When a U.S. wheat penny is mistakenly struck on one of these blanks, it results in a bizarre and unique coin that isn't supposed to exist. And that rarity? That's where the value comes in. Another key feature that drives collectors wild is the double die. This error occurs when the coin is struck more than once with slight misalignment, creating a doubled effect on the date, the lettering, or Lincoln's profile. If a 1951 penny shows a clearly visible doubling, especially on the words, Liberty, or, In God We Trust, it becomes a must-have piece for any serious numismatist. But let's not forget about condition. Even without a mint error, a 1951 wheat penny in uncirculated, mint state condition, we're talking brilliant luster, clean surfaces, no scratches, and sharp details, can fetch impressive sums. When graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at levels MS65 or higher, these coins take on a whole new level of desirability. So what does this all mean for you? It means that if you happen to find a 1951 wheat penny in your change jar, an old coin roll, or a box of family heirlooms, don't dismiss it. Take a close look. Examine the edges. Look at the lettering. Is it perfectly centered? Are there signs of doubling? Does the coin feel lighter or look different in color? Even the smallest detail could be a clue to something extraordinary. Now, these rare versions don't show up every day, but they do show up. And when they do, the coin collecting world takes notice. In one astonishing case, a 1951 wheat penny with a combination of features, a rare mint error, exceptional condition, and professional authentication, captured the attention of top collectors and auction houses. The coin was not only graded at an elite level, but it also possessed characteristics so rare that only a handful are known to exist. The bidding war that followed was intense. Coin experts from around the world recognized what this little penny represented, a one-of-a-kind historical artifact wrapped in copper. So, how much did it sell for? That remarkable 1951 wheat penny, a single 1-cent coin preserved through the decades, authenticated and graded, was purchased by a private collector for a total of $400,000. Yes. You heard that right. A coin you might overlook in a handful of change turned out to be worth $400,000. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a journey. It's a treasure hunt. And sometimes, it's the key to unlocking real wealth. So go ahead, check your pockets, pull out those old coin jars, and take a second look at those wheat pennies. Especially the ones from 1951. Because that little piece of history might just change your future. Third expensive coin, we're talking about the 1954 United States wheat penny. At first glance, this penny might seem like any other coin, featuring the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the classic wheat ears on the back. But don't be fooled by its ordinary appearance. This coin comes from a time when America was booming. Post-World War II, the mid-1950s saw economic growth, cultural change, and plenty of coins being minted to meet the needs of a thriving country. The Denver Mint, indicated by the small d under the year, produced millions of these pennies in 1954. So, what makes the 1954 wheat penny special enough to capture the attention of collectors worldwide? It's all about rarity, condition, and, of course, those fascinating minting quirks that can turn a common coin into a numismatic superstar. During the mid-20th century, coins like this were made for everyday use, and most of them did just that. They circulated in pockets and purses, exchanged hands thousands of times. Over time, the wear and tear on these coins accumulated, making pristine examples increasingly difficult to find. But condition alone isn't the whole story here. Certain 1954 wheat pennies have caught the eye of experts because of unique minting errors and unusual characteristics that happen during the production process. These can range from double die errors, where the design is imprinted twice, creating a shadow or doubling effect, to off-center strikes, and even rare die cracks that add distinct, one-of-a-kind marks to the coin's surface. One of the most fascinating factors collectors look for is the coin strike quality and metal composition. While the 1954 wheat penny was minted primarily in copper, some unusual planchet flaws or metal inconsistencies can cause subtle differences that make particular coins stand out. These tiny irregularities can elevate a common penny into a sought-after collectible with significant market value. But beyond the technical details, the 1954 wheat penny symbolizes a piece of American history. It's a coin that passed through the hands of everyday people during an era of optimism and growth. Each scratch, each faded detail, tells a story of where it has been and who held it before. Now, in the world of coin collecting, the value of a coin depends heavily on how well it's preserved. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, especially those that achieve a mint state or proof-like condition, can command prices many times higher than those worn smooth by years of circulation. The magic really happens when you combine rarity with exceptional condition. Imagine holding a coin that not only survived decades with its fine details intact but also shows those rare minting errors collectors are eager to add to their collections. Over the years, a few outstanding specimens of the 1954 wheat penny have emerged. These coins are in immaculate condition, often housed in protective slabs that confirm their authenticity and grade. Because of their rarity, beauty, and historical significance, these coins have made headlines at auctions and private sales. So, what kind of price tag can we talk about here for one of these remarkable 1954 wheat pennies? After expert authentication and a competitive bidding process among passionate collectors and investors, one extraordinary 1954 wheat penny recently sold for a staggering $300,000. Yes, that's right, $300,000 for a 1-cent coin. It's a testament to the power of rarity, condition, and the fascinating stories embedded in the coins we might otherwise overlook. So, the next time you come across a wheat penny, especially one minted in 1954 at the Denver Mint, take a moment. Look closely. Examine the details. Check if there's any unusual doubling, odd marks, or an off-center strike. You might just be holding a coin that could change your life. Especially is the 1950 United States wheat penny, an ordinary coin with an extraordinary secret. The wheat penny design, officially known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It quickly became a staple of American currency, circulating in pockets, piggy banks, and cash registers for over 4 decades. The reverse side features 2 beautiful wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, symbolizing prosperity and growth. In 1950, America was transitioning from the immediate post-war boom into a period of sustained growth. The Denver Mint, marked with the letter D below the date, produced millions of these pennies that year, making them common in circulation. Yet, despite their widespread use, not all 1950 wheat pennies are created equal. Some stand apart because of their rarity, condition, and fascinating mint errors that make them highly sought after by collectors worldwide. What makes the 1950 wheat penny truly captivating isn't just its design or the era it represents. It's the stories behind the coins that survived decades of wear and tear. Many of these pennies were used daily, leaving most in poor condition. But a select few escaped the rigors of circulation, preserving their luster and intricate details as if frozen in time. Even more intriguing are the rare mint errors that can turn a seemingly ordinary 1950 wheat penny into a numismatic treasure. Some coins exhibit doubling of the date or inscriptions due to misalignment during the striking process, what collectors call double die errors. Others may have been struck on the wrong metal planchets or suffer from off-center strikes, giving them a unique appearance that distinguishes them from standard issues. Collectors prize these anomalies because they represent moments when the minting process deviated, creating coins that are one-of-a-kind or exist in extremely limited numbers. These errors, combined with excellent preservation, skyrocket a coin's value far beyond its face worth. Condition remains king in the world of coin collecting. The rarest 1950 wheat pennies are those found in mint state, with sharp details on Lincoln's profile and crisp wheat stalks on the reverse. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC authenticate and grade these coins, sometimes awarding the coveted gem or proof-like status, which further enhances their market desirability. Over the years, auctions and private sales have highlighted a handful of exceptional 1950 wheat pennies that commanded remarkable prices due to their rarity and pristine condition. These coins represent more than just currency, they're historical artifacts that connect us to a bygone era. Now, if you're wondering how much a top-tier 1950 wheat penny can fetch in today's market, prepare to be amazed. One such extraordinary specimen recently sold for $250,000. That's right. $250,000 for a 1-cent coin minted in Denver over 70 years ago. It's proof that sometimes, the most humble coins can hold the greatest secrets and fortunes. So next time you're sifting through your old coins or exploring family collections, pay close attention to the 1950 wheat penny. Look for that sharp detail, unusual marks, or anything that feels different. You might just be holding the key to a numismatic jackpot. Last unique coin, we're talking about the 1957 United States wheat penny, a small piece of copper that holds a surprisingly big story. The wheat penny series is one of the most beloved and widely collected coin lines in U.S. history. First minted in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's centennial, these coins are instantly recognizable by the wheat ears that frame the reverse side. By 1957, the country was enjoying a post-war boom, optimism was high, and pennies like this one were an everyday part of American life, minted in massive quantities across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The D mint mark on the 1957 penny signifies the Denver Mint, which produced millions of these coins. Given their widespread circulation, you might think these pennies are common, but as with many collectibles, the story doesn't end with the number minted. It's what survives, and in what condition, that makes all the difference. Now, the 1957 wheat penny is a coin many people overlook, often tucked away in jars or loose change. But within that copper disc lies a secret that could unlock incredible value. Why? Because some of these pennies possess rare minting errors or have survived in exceptional condition, both factors that collectors prize highly. Mint errors might include things like double dies, where the coin's design appears to have a shadow or a double impression, or off-center strikes, where the coin isn't perfectly aligned during the minting process. Sometimes you'll find planchet flaws. These are errors in the metal blanks before they are stamped, which make the coin unique and highly collectible. What really propels the value of a 1957 wheat penny, though, is its condition. Most pennies from this era show significant wear from decades of circulation, smoothed edges, faded details, and loss of the original mint luster. But when a coin is discovered in uncirculated or near-mint condition, the crisp details of Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks become strikingly clear, making it a standout piece for collectors and grading companies. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC have helped shine a spotlight on the finest examples of the 1957 penny. Coins graded as mint state 65 or higher, sometimes even exhibiting proof-like qualities, are extremely rare and sought after. These coins are typically protected in special holders to preserve their condition and come with certifications that guarantee their authenticity and grade. Over the years, a handful of these remarkable 1957 wheat pennies have surfaced in auctions and private collections, sparking fierce bidding wars. Their rarity, combined with outstanding condition and sometimes unusual minting characteristics, has driven their values to astounding heights. So how valuable can a 1957 wheat penny be? While most are worth only a few cents or dollars depending on condition, those rare, pristine, and error coins can command prices that would astonish anyone. In fact, a top-tier 1957 wheat penny recently fetched an incredible $200,000 at auction. Yes, $200,000 for a single 1-cent coin. This incredible price reflects the coin's rarity, beauty, and the passion of collectors who recognize the value hidden in these copper relics of American history. So next time you find a 1957 wheat penny in your collection, or even loose in your change, take a closer look. Check for sharp details, mint luster, and any unusual features. That little coin might just be your ticket to a numismatic treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of wheat pennies and want to learn more about the stories and values behind rare coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We love sharing these incredible finds with you and hearing about your own coin adventures in the comments below. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp and your collections growing. Because sometimes, the smallest coins hold the greatest fortunes.